We are good in protecting consumer, we are good in protecting individuals, but now we have to find a balanced situation for the industry, data industry, and that's why we are thinking this is helpful also for our economy, because our thinking is that the data-driven industry will be the leading one for having more growth.
We need a flexible environment to ensure that we have a level playing field for all the actors on the market. We should not just have the big industries to come in. We need to have flexible environment so the small market can produce new businesses and new business model and therefore reach the market.
Users online are looking for information about what is going to happen to their personal data, what's going to happen to their communication, who is having access to it, for what reason and for what purpose.
We are just entering the data-driven economy, meaning that, there is no data-driven economy if you do not put the customer at the center of your attention. When you talk about putting the customer in the center of the attention, you're talking about trust. Marketing is about trust. Marketing is about respect. If you do not gain and if you do not maintain the respect of the customer, you will fail in the future.
It's important to have all stakeholders at the table when we're discussing new legislation, in particular the one that impact fundamental rights, and that civil society and consumer organizations. So it's important that attention is paid also to what is the user views and what is the views of the NGO representing those users.
Without listening to the other stakeholders and to all the parties in the discussion, we will not get a good result.
FEDMA is the most important part for the direct marketing industry to talk to the institution. FEDMA is the voice of the industry in Brussels, and without FEDMA we would not be able to do the job as well as we do for the moment.
In the data-driven industry, it's not about analog or digital. It's not about online, offline. It's about the customer, and that is exactly the perspective FEDMA is taking as a central position. The role of FEDMA is very important from the European perspective. Based in Brussels, FEDMA is the voice of national DMAs. FEDMA is the voice of the European industry, and we need a voice right now.
The self-regulatory programme on OBA was actually a direct response to a challenge from the European Commission in 2010 to provide consumers with transparency over the collection and use of data for the purposes of online behavioural advertising. So since then, the industry has really delivered. Today we've got 165 businesses all involved right across the advertising ecosystem that operate in Europe. These companies all adhere to a single set of principles that promote transparency, choice and control to the consumer. This is the gold standard in self-regulation for the online advertising industry. More than 2 million visitors come to the Your Online Choices website every month, and from there they can enact meaningful choice and control over their advertising preferences. But not only that, the website also acts as a one-stop shop made available from the EDAA, where consumers can see this in their own language, and if they choose, they can also make a complaint to their national advertising self-regulatory body.
We have, from my point of view, achieved in the GDPR already something for the individual, and now if we have now the second step of the implementation phase of GDPR and the environment of the GDPR, there we should more focus on issues what could support also the data-driven economy. And therefore I would say this is the main future-orientated situation, what we can do, what we should do, and I hope what we will do.